Hi everyone, it's Barb from Quilts Happen, and I am here for our block of the month 25-26 for block number 7. It's so sweet. I love these little soft colors. The blue's not really a soft color. It kind of makes the soft colors pop. I love it. Anyways, so I hope you're enjoying the block of the month series so far, and that you are learning something when you watch these videos. So I hopefully, because I do talk a lot. I mean, I talk a lot anyways, but I hope you're learning something from the blocks. Anyways, remember this is a beginner series, so it does go step by step. However, this is all half square triangles, so there will be some speeded up moments in the video, but feel free to watch it because I'm still filming it. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit to save time. But you can skip through whatever you want and just look at parts you might need. This is a very simple block, but if you're a new quilter and you just want that extra comfort, you go right ahead and you watch the whole thing. So anyways, I'm really excited to get going, and I hope you are too. So I will see you in a few minutes when we get started. Let's go. Okay, block number 7. We have our pattern. There's our beautiful block. And we have the medium blue, the dark apricot, the minty marble color, I don't know what else to call it, and your background fabric. So we're going to go ahead and cut these. They're very simple because all we have to do is cut these down to, let's see, 4-inch squares, and they're all going to be half square triangles. So super easy today for cutting. So I'm going to put my pattern aside for a second. I'm going to start with the apricot and the blue because they're exactly the same. And on our pattern, it says to lay them lengthwise, landscape, I guess you could say. And so I'm going to lay them together, and then I'm going to trim them into 2 4-inch squares. First, I'm going to square this up. It looks like I have, can't grab it for some reason today. Let's see. Well, I'm going to check it, see if it's square first. So that is straight. And that is, actually, that's pretty straight. So on these 2 sides, I check to make sure that they're straight, and I'm going to use those edges. And then I'm going to go over here. First, I'm going to do up a row. I like to see farther down. I'm going to cut 4 and then 8. And then I'm going to turn those, and I'm going to cut them at 4 again. Hopefully that makes sense. It'll make sense in a second if it doesn't make sense now. All right, so here's 4. Be careful you don't move them when you're cutting. And 8. This is scrap, so we can just toss it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these. I'm lining them up still on the 0 and keeping it straight. I'm actually going to put them both here. Okay, so they're lined up on the 0 mark. So now, and then it's actually says 9, but it's 4 and 4. And I'm going to line up my ruler again on the 4-inch mark again. Try not to move them if you have to readjust your ruler like I just did. I didn't move them, I checked, but. All right. And now these 2 are scraps, so not too bad. And now I have 2 blues and 2 apricots. If I can get them. Boy, I'm having troubles with getting things apart today. Oh, well. You know, it's one of those days. There you go. So now I have got 2 blues and 2 apricots. So I'm going to throw those in my pile over here to save. Now, for the minty marble, according to my pattern, that's what this is in the middle. My printer, I don't know why I won't print green. So anyways, that's the minty marble pieces. And I need 4 of those. So I'm actually going to cut 4 4-inch squares. So I'm going to fold it in half. I'm all about, you know, saving time. So, and now I'm going to line the fold up on a line. And I'm going to trim off the edge. Actually, I'm going to do it on this side so I can move it over. I'm going to trim off the edge so that I have a nice straight edge to start with, and then I'm going to flip it around. I'm not left-handed, so I can't cut it on that side unless I go to the other side of the table, which I do a lot. So I'm going to trim that off so that I have a nice straight edge now. And then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to line this up here. I'm not worried about that part because I know it's straight because I just did it on the fold. So I'm going to line it up here, and then I'm going to cut my 4 and my 8 again, just like I did before. But when I folded it, I didn't have a straight edge like I did when I had just the single pieces that were layered. Folding always makes things messed up. I don't know. It's okay. That's why you just cut a straight edge. Okay, so now I'm going to turn them, and I'm going to actually be cutting this one twice because I'm going to cut the fold off. So I'm going to put these here, and all I'm trying to do is make sure that I get past the 0 and past the 4, because I'm going to trim this off and then I'm going to flip it around and trim this off. Or I might just go around to the other side of the table. So first things first, straighten that back up because I must have bumped it or something. And I'm going to line up my ruler on the 4. And I've trimmed that off. So these are gone. And actually, I think I will just move over to the other side of the table. And now I've lined up my ruler on the 0. And I'm going to trim off the little folded piece. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the minty marble. And I'm going to add those to my pile with my other ones. And last but not least, we have the background. Oops, okay, not only did I kick the camera, the phone died. I had it plugged in last night, but I have a sneaky suspicion my charger wasn't plugged in, so ding dong. Anyways, switched phones, so now I can continue. Hopefully I didn't lose too much there because I didn't really notice it until after I saw the camera was bumped. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise. I didn't film a whole bunch with nobody listening. So now we're going to do the background fabric, and it's kind of similar to this one in that I'm going to fold it and then I'm going to make the same, I'm going to make the 4x4 cuts like here. But I'm actually going to make them 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, so again, it looks like I need to trim up the edges a little bit because they're not really square. So, but there you can see there's plenty of fabric for that, so we're not worried. So I'm going to go off here on the 0 so that I'm past the 0, and I'm going to trim this edge. I had to move it over because I can't see my numbers past there, my line, I mean. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to go past the 0 and past the 8. And then I'm going to trim the 8 side first. Now, I'm using batik, so I can just flip mine right over. If you are doing, making this block and you're using cotton fabrics that are not printed on both sides, you're going to want to make sure that you do get whatever edge over here. You don't want to do it upside down. So I can literally just do this. Boop, and I'm ready. But you might not be able to do that if you are using cottons. And so you may want to trim both sides. That's your call. Okay, you know what you have. If you're using mine, though, you can just flip it over. So I'm going to go 4. Put it back a little bit. 8. Okay, throw that away. And actually, I'm going to just turn. I'm on the edge of my table, so I'm just going to do this instead of moving it. And I'm going to go 4. And I tend to cut really slowly because I feel like it moves a little less. Plus, press hard here. So it keeps everything in place. And so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is how many you need to make this block. Okay, and then we are done cutting. That's it. We've got all of our blocks. Now all we have to do is literally make them into half square triangles. And that is super easy to do because we're just going to draw a line from corner to corner like in our pattern, and then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side. So that is easy. I'm going to grab a pencil really quick. And all you literally have to do is grab any straight edge. It doesn't even have to be a ruler. It could be a file folder if you want. As long as it's a straight edge and it goes from corner to corner, you are golden. And I'm just going to draw my line. I don't usually put my pencil all the way to the edge because I feel like when you pull it, it can like curl up the fabric. It kind of, I don't know, roughs it up a little bit. So I usually start off of it, but you can also start down here, go back and back if it's easier for you. And all we have to do is draw a line corner to corner on all of these background pieces because you're just going to match them up with a colored piece. This is like the easiest block in the world, but it's really pretty when it's done. So who cares if it's simple? Simple's fine. There is nothing wrong with simple. Oops, wrong pile. I honestly feel like most of the time, quilts and blocks can be the most simple block in the world. It's all about your fabric choice. If you pick fabrics that are pretty and you like them and they're pleasing to you, then they're beautiful. It doesn't matter if it was a intricate block or a simple block. I feel like it's the fabric that makes it. Of course, I'm a fabric junkie, so. I mean, I have a quilt store, so obviously. I have a t-shirt that says I heart quilting, and I should have one that says, oops, I made it off. I should have one that says I heart fabric, because that's probably true. Okay, I'm making this one a little bit darker because I went off the line a little bit here. And so I wanted to make sure that when I put it on the sewing machine, I followed the right line. And this is not going to show anywhere, so I'm just using a pencil. If you want to use a fancy pen or whatever, you can. But we're going to sew on either side of this line and then cut it off. It's not going to show, even though it's a pencil on a white fabric, it's not going to show when the block is done. So, but the choice is yours. You use whatever tools you like the best. Okay, so on the pattern, it says how we're going to pair these up. Basically, you're just going to pair it up to everything because you have 8 of these and 8 of those. So, because there's 4 of these and 4 of these. So really, all you're going to do is go to the sewing machine and grab one, grab another one, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch down this side, and I'm going to chain piece, which you'll see. And then when I'm done, I'm going to I take mine apart. Some people turn around and chain piece again. I don't know. It stresses me out. I don't know why, but it does. So I'm going to snip all mine apart and then go through and chain piece again down the other side. So I will move over to the sewing machine and you can see that in action. Oh well. Okay. So I'm going to have my pile of background squares. And then I'm going to have my pile of colored squares. So I've already grabbed this one because we did it in the previous segment. Okay. And I'm just going to put my foot on, and I've got a 1/4 inch foot, and I'm just going to shoop, right down the side of my drawn line. If you have a diagonal seam tape that you're using, you are placing your drawn line or your corner on the right hand side on the gray line, and you'll follow that, and that will also give you the 1/4 inch. So, but I drew my lines for the video. Oops. Okay, I have finished chaining those together on the one side, and can I just say, it is really hard for me to be quiet that long. So I'm going to use my blade saver, and I'm going to trim all these apart before I go down the other side. Hello. I like to snip them and then lay them in the same direction so that when I pick them up for the second side, it's really easy to grab them and go. Oops. And then that one, of course, got crooked. Okay, so put that back up there. Now I've got my stitching down the one side, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to stitch down the other side in exactly the same way. Woo, so here I go, being quiet again. Turn around. And we are doing exactly the same thing. So if you are using the diagonal seam tape, you are keeping your corner or your drawn line on the right hand side. Ow. Oof, that really hurt. Okay. I finished that side, and now I'm going to just cut them apart with my blade saver again. That time they went across the top. Last time they went under the sewing machine. Oh well. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the cutting table, and we're going to literally just cut these apart on the drawn line. I'm going to use my rotary and my ruler, but you're welcome to use scissors if you prefer. But I'll see you over at the cutting mat. Okay, so we are now over here at the cutting mat, and what we're going to do is we're going to literally just cut these two pieces apart on the drawn line. If your seam got a little crooked, which I'm actually quite proud of myself because this time my seam turned out pretty good. But a lot of times, sometimes my seams get crooked. Especially if I look at a camera when I'm trying to talk or something, and then I look away for a second and the seams get really crooked. So it's okay if you got a little bit crooked because we are going to trim them. Just make sure that when you cut these apart, you don't cut your stitching line, because then you have to go find some scraps and try and make it again. And that's not fun. Ask me how I know. Done that. Talking to a friend or something when you're working, and then next thing you know, you've cut something wrong or turned your head and slipped your ruler or whatever. It happens. These look kind of cool when they're on the colored batiks. Okay. All right, there we go. So these are all open. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to press them all at the iron. And I'm going to just press them all to the dark side because that is the standard procedure. So, but when I get over there, and honestly, what I usually do is I like to fold them over and then press them this way, give them a finger press before I go to the iron, because you don't want to put it on here and then iron it like this, because you'll end up getting some stretch, or you'll end up making a little ridge right here in the middle of your half square triangle. And then when you piece it all together, you've got a little bubble. So we don't want that. So I'm going to actually open each one of these up, gently fold it over, give it a little finger press, and then I'm going to go over to the iron. And when I get to the iron, I'm just going to press it like this. I'm not going to slide it around. I might slide it over here to make this go down a little bit, but you want to just press it or go side to side like that, because you've already finger pressed it. So it's down where it's supposed to be. Now you're just kind of setting it. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of that, and then I will meet you back here and we'll move on to trimming the blocks, our favorite part. And while trimming might not be your favorite thing, it really does make a big difference in your finished block. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then I will be right back. Okay, everything is ironed and pressed now, or pressed and ironed, or whatever. You know what I mean. I'm back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to trim these down to 3.5 inches. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can use your mat and trim. You can use a regular ruler and trim, or you can use a block lock and trim. So if you were going to use your mat, what you would do is, let me make sure you can see my corners. There we go. Oops, I put everything right on top of everything else. Oh my goodness. You can line up your line here on the 45, which is actually kind of hard to see on this mat. Oh, there, I got it. And so you just want to make sure that you're past the 3.5 and past the 3.5, because that's what's going, you're going to cut it. And so you want to make sure that you have enough to either, it's already square on a side, or you can trim off on both sides. So like this goes past 3.5 on both sides. And then you can double check, make sure you're still on your 45-degree line. And then you can, I take a smaller ruler. Using the big ruler is kind of a pain. And then you can go to your 3.5. This mat's hard because it's dots, not lines, but it works. Okay, so I've got my 3.5. And then I can go to the side or turn my, I can also, this is a spinning mat, so I can also turn my spinning mat and I can go over there and do it. But the camera's in the way. So I'm just going to go to the side of my table right here. And again, I can't see the line on this side, but what I did is I lined my ruler up on this line so that I know it's straight, since I couldn't see it. Work with what you got, right? Okay, so that didn't take much. Now I know that this side, or yeah, this side is trimmed. So now I'm going to put it in the corner, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm still past 3.5, and I'm still past 3.5, barely, but still there. Okay, and I lined it up in the corner. Now I'm going to go to, I need to write halves on here. This drives me crazy. Every time I use it, I say I'm going to do it, and then I don't. Story of our lives, right? Don't we always say that? Okay, so actually, I'm just going to turn it one more time. Trim the 3.5 over here. Just lining it up in the corner. And then I'm doing the 3.5 again. And now when I'm done, I have a beautiful little block. And I just have to say that these two colors together are so pretty. Okay, that's one way you can do it. I'm going to use a block lock because I find this way easier. So a block lock has, this one is a 6.5 inch square, And so you can trim anything 6.5 and lower. So what it has on the back is it's got these ridges. You can actually feel it right there. So what you do is you always put your word block on your background, and you can literally butt it up against the seam, and it moves along the seam. So it makes it easier for trimming. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it this way because I'm going to trim that up there. So I'm butted up against the seam, and I'm past, this is 3.5, this is 3.5, and actually the corner is right on 3.5. So I'm going to just leave it right here, and then I'm going to trim 2 sides at once. Up, and then I always, sorry, I trim backwards. I hate sticking my right into a corner because A, I ruin my blade every single time, and B, I ruin the corner of the ruler. So now I can actually just spin this around and slide it over, and now I can line up on my 3.5 exactly, trim and trim, and now I have my cute little half square triangle. So that's how I'm going to do it. You can do your preferred method. Also, if you have a clearly slotted perfect trimmer, you have to use that though before you press. I don't have one here that I can share with you to show, but I know that they are very useful tools. So I'm going to go ahead and get on this, and I'm going to kind of slide this off a little bit. I know that you can't see the corners, but you don't need to when you're using a block lock. So, but I need to be able to reach it a little bit better. Okay. Going down, 3.5 was right there on the corner again. Trim, trim, scoot that off. And you can actually just turn your ruler around if you don't want to turn the spinning mat. Trim, trim. Sometimes all you're doing is trimming off that dog ear. That's okay. They need to be gone too. All right. I'm going to get focused here and trim up, and I'll see you in a few. Now, this one, I'm going to tell you right now, is a little bit off. So I'm slightly underneath that edge right there and a little bit right here. But, you know, it's so minor, it's not going to matter in the long run. And it's well within our 1/4 inch seam. I think it's only maybe a 1/2 16th off. So I'm not going to worry about that. So if you're a new quilter, please don't worry about that kind of stuff. It's close, and if it's going to fall in your 1/4 inch seam, you are good. Oh, not 3, 3.5. Oh my goodness, I almost went to 3. That would have been terrible. But see, it's a little bit off, but it's okay. It's still way better than it would have been if you had not squared at all. So don't even worry about that kind of stuff. there's the line. Oh my gosh, I don't know where my break. Nope, that's 3. Okay, what? Oh my gosh. See, I didn't have this block background. I had it this way, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make it work, because it needs to go that way. You know, we're only human. I mean, we try, but you know, only human. Do, 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 do. And done. I have all of my half square triangles trimmed, and they're nice and pretty. And now we all sound like old McDonald. We need to do now is just lay them out in the proper order, and we can start sewing this block together. It's that simple. All right, let me clean up my mess really quick, and then we'll get on to that. Okay, I don't have my design board here today, so I'm just going to use my wool pressing mat as a design board. But I'm going to start with my 4 corners. Those are always the easiest, it seems like, to lay out for me. We just know that they all have to go out, so that's pretty darn simple. Okay, so they go out. And then right next, I'm just going to fill in the rows. So I'm going to go separate my pieces first. Again, this is the Minty Marble. I know it doesn't look like it, my printer. And then this one is the medium blue. So however you've marked your colors, okay? I think I'm gonna well, that might fit. Okay, so there's one row. Now the next row, I'm gonna actually start in the middle again. And well, I guess it doesn't matter, because I can just do this. Make that one look like that. Then I have Minty Marble again, and it's going down like that because you're trying to make like a tail. I think it's a star leg, but you know what I mean. Another Minty Marble, but this time it's going up. I'm just following my pattern. And then another Minty Marble, and it's going to attach to this one, so you have another star leg. See how you got the little star legs down here? Okay. Then the next one, I'll start over here, and it is a medium blue that goes up. We have a Minty Marble that is going to make another star leg. Again, just make sure you watch the direction. This should be making a pinwheel in the middle. And another Minty Marble that's going to finish off this star leg. So it's going to go like this. Move that over so it lines up. And then we've got 2 last pieces, and it looks like the blue goes here, and the Minty Marble is going to go down like that. So it finishes out the leg. Okay, so this is actually very simple to put together. We're just gonna sew all of these together, and then we're gonna sew all of these together, all of these together, and all of these together. And then after they're sewn together, we're gonna press all the seams of this one going that way, all of these seams going this way, and this way. That way, when we put our seams together, they'll nest and we'll have nice points, hopefully. Nobody's perfect. We do try, but we're not perfect. So, you know, that's how it goes. So I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and then we will sew it all together. Okay, so now we are at the sewing machine and we're going to start sewing our rows together. I'm literally just going to grab a piece, flip it over. I just flipped over that one. Okay, and then I'm going to start with a little leader because that way I'm starting on a thicker side. Anytime I start with a thicker side, sorry, I like to have something to give a little gentle tug so I don't get that knot underneath. So, it just helps it get going. So now I'm grabbing the next one, which is just flipping it over. Just pay attention when you flip it over to which side you're actually sewing on. I like to grab it by that corner so I know. And don't worry, even as careful as you are, you're probably still going to do it in the wrong way because it seems like that is life. We always do one at least. Not always, but often. It's okay. Just means you got to take it out and redo it. After you sit there for a few minutes going, why doesn't it look right? Okay, so I'm going to take these apart. Bottom, 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 bottom. I kept them in order because now I'm going to put them back the way they go. So I know that the apricot goes in the corner. And then I need my pattern. I know that the blue goes up. I'm looking at my pattern over there. And then I know this one made the star leg. And then this one had apricot in the corner. So yay, we did them all right. And then you can look at the design on here and make sure that it is the way it's supposed to look according to the picture. Now, you can do this two ways. You can sew this one onto this one like that, and then you can sew that one. I'm gonna actually just sew these two together like I just did, and then attach the whole thing together. You can do however you want, but I'm kind of in this mode, so. And to be perfectly honest, I do it different every time. I never do things the same way twice. Well, okay, I do, but this kind of stuff I never do the same way twice. Oh man, and now I forgot which way I was going. Nope, that way, okay. If you ever get lost and can't remember which side you were supposed to sew on, just put it back on the mat or your design board and look at it, compare it to the pattern, and then pick it up again. That is way faster than having to seam rip it and then redo it or unsew it. Bottom, next, top. Okay. Now I kept them in the same order. Okay, so I'm gonna go corner, apricot to the corner. Now when I open this one, I think I need the star legs to go opposite my pinwheel here. Okay, now this one, the blue, yep. And then I was making sure I had the blue the right direction. And then this one, the apricot's in the corner, and I'm still getting my little pointed stars. Yay! Now I'm just gonna take and flip these onto these, each one across. Again, staying in order. Lining it up. This time I'm not using a leader because I'm starting on the soft side or the single side, short side. Come on, why aren't wasn't going. And then it did it anyways. See? Ay, ay, ay. Sometimes. Man. It was all going so smoothly. Oh well. It's how the boat floats. At least I won't forget where I was sewing because it's got a big old knot right there. And now I'm going to sew it from the other side. It's life. And I actually am not worrying about that big knot because it was inside my seam allowance. It's not a big knot, it's just a couple little stitches, but still, not gonna worry about it. In the grand scheme of life, that is not something I really need to stress out about. Last one. Then we have to press. Well, I press, and then put the seams together, or the rows together, I mean. Okay, oops, here's. Now I'm going to bottom, next, top. So I know that apricot goes to the corners. Okay, I'm looking at my picture again. I know that that blue needs to be going up, and I got a star leg. This blue needs to go this way, and I have another star leg, and then apricot goes on the bottom. So now, before I sew these together, what I want to do is I want to take this first row and I want to press all the seams one direction. So I'm actually going to take it and I'm going to press everything that way. So I just flipped this over and I'm going to give it a finger press, flip this one over, give it a finger press, and I'm going to flip this one over and give it a finger press so that all my seams are going that way. Okay, and then I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to do the opposite. I want all my seams going that way. So that one already was. Thank you. Okay, flip this one over so it's going that way. And then go this way. Okay, nice good finger press. And now they're all going that way. Go back the other way again for the third row. Double check to make sure you go in the right way. I just look at the row in front of me to make sure. Okay, giving it a finger press. And then this one, I want to go opposite of that one, so it's going to go back that way. Finger press, finger press, finger press. Now, at this point, if you wanted to, you could actually sew them together without pressing. Personally, I just like my blocks to look really crisp. So I'm going to run over and give it just a little squirt on the iron. But if you don't want to, you can go ahead and go to the next step, which will be in just a second because you're not going to see me with the iron. And it's your choice. So I will be right back because I'm going to go press mine. Actually, this is rather convenient because all I have to do is stick the iron on it. That's interesting. I'll be right back. Wow, that was really convenient. Okay, okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these together. So I'm going to take this row, flip it over, and then I'm going to line up my points where they come together. And you can use pins or clips. If they seem like they're lining up pretty good, I just use a clip. If I have to really struggle, I might use a pin because that means it was kind of hard to fit in there. Or maybe in the very center piece or something like that, where if it's really important that the seams look good, I'll use a pin. On this one, I think we're okay. Now, because you pressed them opposite directions, the two seams come together, and one side it goes like this and the other side goes like this. And so they actually have like the little ridge right here, and they will actually butt up against each other, and then they'll make a nice, you feel it. There's no gap between it. It feels like one solid piece. And then they'll make a nice point. They'll come together in a nice spot. So when you can do that, oh, it's really good. Now, is it foolproof? Not really. Sometimes it works. I should say 95% of the time it works. But sometimes you just got that stubborn one that doesn't want to do anything. And you know what? I let that one go. As long as it's not too far off. My rule of thumb is if I can see it from across the room, I fix it. If I can't, good enough. The quilting will hide it. Once you quilt your quilt and make it poofy, you don't see those things. Cut off my little beginning piece. It's getting kind of ratty looking. Let's see how we did. Not too shabby. Only one was a little bit off, and that was the one I was struggling with at the end. So, points look pretty good. This one's slightly off. I can totally live with that all day long. So, I'm going to put those two there, and then I'm going to actually do these two together first before I sew the two halves together. Okay, so move it over so that I get my little bumps together. Okay, so you can kind of wiggle it around so you can feel the gap and then not feel the gap. And when you don't feel the gap anymore, that's when you pin it. So put this one here, no gap, hopefully. I do a lot of hope and sew. I try and then I just go for it. Use my little ratty guy. So I can give myself a little tug. Excuse me. A little tug. All right, let's see how we did on this one. Let's see. Hey, not too shabby. That looks pretty good, yeah? All right, so now I'm gonna take the top one. Make sure you lay it the right way. I checked to make sure my apricots are in the corner. Flip it over, and now I'm gonna do this one. Now, if this one you really, really care and you want that middle point to just be perfect, you could put a pin in if you want. It feels pretty good to me, so I'm just gonna go with it. Plus they're all the same color, and when they're the same color, you're not changing colors, it's not quite as obvious. And it's up against a white, so these colors are very similar in color, you know. Struggling a little bit with this guy. Okay, come on. And you can always flip it over and see how it's going. Sometimes it is hard to feel because see, it's got a seam coming up and a seam going down. And then you're trying to feel that on both sides, and sometimes it can be challenging. So I flip it back and look to see if I actually am lined up. That one was pretty close. I'm just gonna go for it. This one feels pretty good. Like I said, if you can't see it from across the room, you're good to go. Alrighty. I don't like loose threads. I'll throw it with a rack. Okay, how did we do? Hey, not bad. Not bad at all. I will take that all day long. Isn't it cute? So I'm going to go over to the pressing station. Oh, got a thread coming out. And I'm going to, I like to press my seams open, so I'm going to go do that really quick, and then I'll be right back, and here we go. This is our lovely little flat press block. Oh my gosh, say that 10 times fast. So isn't it cute? It's so sweet. I just love these colors together. There's something about that pop of blue that kind of sets everything off, and then I can't get over how much I love this minty green with this white. And the apricot is one of my favorite colors in the whole line, so love it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and it's very simple, but like I said, it doesn't really matter as long as you love the fabrics. Any simple block can be absolutely stunning. So I will see you next time, and thank you for watching. And if you're a YouTube subscriber, thank you. I'm very, very excited. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time.